Today, I know this is like 2 weeks late, but I still wanted to film my February wrap up because when I make my March wrap up, I don't want there to be a gap. So anyway, what's been going on in my life is kind of exciting because I can finally work. I finally have a work permit for Canada. So I've been looking for jobs and going to interviews and doing all that kind of fun stuff. And that's why I haven't made any videos. But I still wanted to share with you the books that I read in February, even though that's forever ago, but I just still want to talk about them, so I hope you like it. So the first thing that I finished in February was Marvel 1602, which is a comic book, not series, so I guess it's like a parallel universe, or one of the Marvel universes, and all of the characters, like all the characters we know, like Peter Parker and Nick Fury and stuff like that, they are all alive in a setting in 1602. And, you know, stuff happens and X-Men are involved, but everything is kind of like a night castle sort of setting, so that's really, really interesting. And Neil Gaiman wrote it, so that's why I kind of wanted to pick it up. And also because I think it's a really neat idea. And I really, really liked it. It was, I think, 6 single issues, so it wasn't that long. It was very interesting and really cool. And then the main book that I read in February was Winter by Marissa Meyer, which is the 4th book of the Lunar Chronicles, which I'm sure you've heard of because it's everywhere. But I also wanted to finish a series, and I absolutely loved Winter. I can't tell you much about the story, but the Lunar Chronicles is, there are 4 books, and they're 4 fairy tale retellings, even though they're really loose retellings. It's just based on the fairy tale. But it's completely different settings, completely different pretty much everything but the main plot points. But even those kind of change. Anyway, so yeah, Winter was the final installment of the series, and it came to a beautiful end, and I absolutely loved it. I really enjoyed it, even though it was from a lot of perspectives, and that's kind of what I didn't like about Cress. But in Winter, for some reason, maybe I was in the right mindset, or maybe I just kind of liked it better because but I just liked the 4th book, so Winter, better than Cress, even though it had just as many perspectives and stuff like that. But yeah, it was a really worthy end to the series. I really, really liked it. And then another book that I read kind of simultaneously as reading Winter is Wild, From Lost to Found on the Pacific Crest Trail. Can you tell that I'm reading this? By Cheryl. And this book is kind of old, and I've been wanting to read it forever, and it's also a movie, and yeah, now I finally picked it up, and I absolutely loved it too. I say that's for every book. Okay. This book was like a roller coaster to me because it made me feel so many different emotions that at some points of the books I hated it, and some other parts I completely loved, and it just made me feel so much because the first 20 to 30 pages completely made me cry, like sob, like weep. Like I was so devastated just reading that, and it was really heartwarming and just really sad. And then the next 30 pages made me really angry because it's a non-fiction book, and it's about Cheryl, who walks the PCT, that's the trail from the Mexican border to the Canadian border through like 3 states of the USA. So basically she's never really hiked before, and now she's going on this huge adventure hike for 3 months. And the fact that she was so unprepared, that she made so many mistakes that could have been prevented like that, just made me really mad. But at the same time, that's why she had such a great experience, because she didn't actually, go in it prepared, and she didn't, have all the knowledge that all the other hikers had. And it totally was her life, and that's kind of why it's weird to get mad about it, because I know it's her life, and she didn't, choose all of it. Anyway, but it was really interesting, and at the end, I would have liked more about her life after the hike, because she hiked the trail in 1996, and now in 2012 I think she wrote the book. So I would have liked a little bit more about the time after, but I totally get that, the whole book kind of focuses on the experience on the trail. But anyway, I just kind of read up all the other stuff on Wikipedia afterwards. Yeah, but that's a really, really good book if you haven't picked it up and you're kind of into nature and hiking and weird life stories that make you sad and angry and make you want to go into nature. Because I wanted to go hiking every day when I read that book. Alright, and then the next book that I picked up was Passenger by Alexandra Bracken, which has a lot of hype around it, and it's a time travel novel about a girl who kind of gets thrown into this adventure, and she didn't know that she was a time traveler, but then she kind of goes on a quest, and that's all I can say. A lot of people love this, and I did enjoy it. I really liked the characters. I thought the plot was really engaging and really just suspenseful, and it was an all-around really solid and good book. But I just felt so emotionally shut out. For some reason, I couldn't connect to the characters. I didn't cry. I didn't laugh. I didn't feel much. Like, I read the book and I thought it was fun and it was cool, but I didn't actually think. Alright, my camera stopped somewhere in the middle there, but I was just repeating myself anyway, so it doesn't matter. So I did like Passenger. I already said that. Anyway, I'm gonna move on. So the last book that I read in February is the only book that I actually own that wasn't borrowed, and that's The Curious Incident of the Dog in the Nighttime by Mark Haddon, and it looks like this. And I picked this up because I wanted to have a quick read at the end of the month and just kind of get through a book in a day. And let me tell you, I loved it. I actually put it on my favorites shelf, and I want to like inhale this book every day because it's the most magical and wondrous and amazing story ever. And it's the story of an autistic boy whose neighbor's dog is killed, and he wants to find out who did it. And I'm not gonna say more about that. Just the fact that it involves a lot of math, but in the most fun way, and it has like little weird illustrations in it, and like graphs and actual math, like everything I love. And the chapters aren't normal numbers, they're all the prime numbers. So I don't know what you would want more in a book, but I'm so in love with this. I actually already want to reread it because this in comparison to Passenger made me feel all the feels. I cried so hard, I laughed out loud, it's just so great. I think you should really pick it up. I know that a lot of people don't like it. I actually read a few bad reviews on this, but for me personally, this is absolutely exactly up my alley, and every single book that is like this will always land on my favorite shelf. It kind of reminded me of Alex Wood's versus the Universe by Gaiman X. I don't know how to pronounce his name. I'm just going to put it on the screen. But it kind of reminded me of this, but it was more like he was autistic and not just epileptic, so he actually had like a mental issue sort of a thing. But I don't know. This boy's just the most lovable, cutest, wondrous character ever. That sentence didn't make any sense. I forgot his name. His name was Christopher. Christopher is the best, and I want to meet him, but unfortunately he's fictional. Alrighty, those were all the books that I read in February, and I'm kind of having a pretty good reading month in March, so I'm looking forward to that wrap up, which is going to be up in like maybe 2 weeks. I don't know. It's going to be quick March. Anyway, I hope that it was sort of interesting, and if you have any comments, any opinions to the books that I read, then let me know in the comments. I love to read your comments. And yes, I'll see you later. Bye.